Yeah, good afternoon and welcome you all to this additional class. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about INIT method and other different types of methods like STR method. See here I am giving two underscores, one underscore and two underscore, INIT. Okay, so carefully observe. I have two underscores here, and this is a different method, just like other methods what we have studied. We have defined our own methods so far. There are special methods like INIT method, and one more method which you're going to study is two underscores STR method. Okay. And another method here with respect to our time example, we have add method. Okay. We have add method, and also we have underscore R add method. So these are few methods which we are going to discuss. The above two are general methods, and the third and fourth methods are our example specific. Here we have used these two methods for a time example. Example called time. Okay, so we will start with. So this is our agenda today. After this, we are going to cover a couple of topics like operator overload, operator overloading, and type based dispatch, and lastly polymorphism. This, I think you have heard about this. Okay, so this is our basic agenda today. Guys, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now we shall take up the issues one by one. So firstly, we will be discussing about INIT method. So what is this INIT method? This method is a short form for initialization. Understand? So this is a short form for initialization, and this is a special method that gets invoked. See here, this method gets invoked when object is instantiated. I repeat, this method will get invoked as soon as you define an instance or you create an object or you create an instance. Okay, so how the method looks? Its full name, it carries two underscores, two underscore characters followed by INIT, and again two more underscores. Suppose if I'm trying to define an INIT method inside the class time. See here, I'm going to define the INIT method inside the class time. So that INIT method would look like this. It is how it looks. And this is assuming that this is defined inside the class. I'm not dealing with any class here. Just I'm trying to define INIT method. Here I have an input arguments like self. The first parameter of INIT method is self, because it gets invoked when you call the instance or when you create an instance. And usually I will give the attributes values or variables as hover, which is again the variable inside the INIT methods. Be careful, whatever attribute values I declare here, the variables I declare inside this as an argument will be the same inside the definition of INIT or inside the method of INIT. Here it is hover, minute and second. So what do you understand basically here with respect to your INIT method? So it is basically, you understand, it is common for the parameters of INIT to have the same names as the attributes. Okay, so now with this, okay, with this, let us just try to define a class called time. This you know, class called time. Okay, and then how to make this as a method, just give an indentation, and how to make this belong to a method, again give an indentation with respect to that method. This is very simple. So now inside class called time, I have defined this INIT method where hour is equal to 0. I have initialized, so that is why it's called as initialization method. Hour is equal to 0, minute is equal to 0, second is equal to 0. Very simple. Okay, now if I run this cell, so you could see now how to use this method, right? How to use this method. Once the method, see, once, what is the definition of this? So INIT method gets invoked when object is instantiated. See here, I repeat, INIT method will gets invoked. It's invoked when an object is instantiated. So can I say time? Can I say now time is equal to, say time is equal to time, time. Is it okay? If I say time, and can I say time dot print underscore time, time dot print underscore time with no input arguments. So if I run this program, and you'll get an error. Why? Because print underscore time is not an method here. So what I need to do? What I need to do? Guys, don't sleep now. What I need to do? Hello? What I need to do here? Oh, okay. Shreyas? Shreyas. Okay. Sahana? Guys, I thought this session would be interactive. Spurti?
Yes, sir.
Don't worry, even though it is wrong, you just say. I'm getting this error now. See here, time dot print underscore time. I have no attribute called print underscore time. What do you mean by that? That means here I created an instance called time. So once I created this instance, INIT method will get invoked automatically. Correct? But I did not have print underscore time method here inside this class. So what I need to do, I have to create a method. Yeah, I have to create a method called print underscore time and pass this as an input argument called time, and this will print the message. See, this method is to print the message whatever there inside this time. So now you check. Okay, now I'm getting print underscore time. See here, time dot hour refers to self dot hour, time dot minute refers to self dot minute, time dot second refers to self dot second. So whenever you create an instance, see here, once you create an instance, your INIT will get invoked. Create instance or object, and this will get invoked with the initial values whatever you had given. If I change this, obviously the values will get changed. See, understand? So but usually what we do, we presume the initial values as 0. Okay, so the initial values are 0. Any doubt here? Now if you provide one argument here, if I try to copy this, copy the same program. Now if you provide one input argument, guys, understand, if you provide one input argument like this, say 20. So usually this 20, see, this time is nothing but it is self, 20 is nothing but it is trying to represent, or it is trying to give an alias to this hour. So whatever you give as the first parameter, first input argument, will be the second parameter of your INIT statement. So if you provide one argument, it overrides the value of hour. Now if I run this program, you see it overrides the value of this hour. See here, 20, it overrides the value of hour. So we'll give 8. We'll give 8 and we'll see. So it overrides the value of an hour. What will happen if I give the second argument? Suppose if I give the second argument, I make this 9, and if I give the second argument, so what will happen, guys? Can anybody tell now? What will happen here with respect to this INIT? Will it override 9 with hour and 45 with minute? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this will get overridden with hour and minute. Suppose if I give the third parameter here, like say 40, so it gets override with the seconds, right? Suppose if I keep extending this, suppose if I give 40 and then 4, so what happens? Can anybody tell what is this now? So all these three in my previous examples is getting override with all the three default values. Okay, it is getting override by all the three default values. What if I give the fourth parameter? Yes, what will happen if I give the fourth parameter?
Error.
You'll get an error. Be specific. What kind of error? So you'll get an error with respect to the positional argument. See, it takes from 1 to 4 positional argument, but fifth were given. Though it was looking like 4 input argument, you might argue with me saying that, sir, there was a 4 positional argument, but you are saying like there was a fifth position was given. See here, time itself is the first argument with respect to my init. See, the time itself is the first argument, that is self, followed by 3 more argument. That means there are total 4 positional arguments. Right? See, with respect to init, I have 4 positional argument. 1 with respect to the object itself. The other 3, 2 to 4, are with respect to the attributes. Correct? Any doubt here?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So this is about INIT method. So this will generate an error. This will generate an error saying this. Okay. Yeah. Now let us go to the next method. What is the next method? The next method is str method. Very simple. Very simple method. So this is again a special method. Again, you have 2 underscores here before and after str. So how does it look? How does it look? Let me assume I am typing this str method inside the class time, and this is how it looks. And this is how it looks. What is this str method? It is a special method just like your INIT. But here it returns a string representation of an object. I repeat, it returns a string representation of an object. Okay, you could see here, what is the return statement? The return statement, it is a string representation. It is just a string representation. Earlier, people used to return something like this, right? So we used to say return return time, return start, return seconds, and so on. But here we have the return statement which is written as an string. That is the only difference between your INIT and string method. So what happens with respect to the string method? Excuse me. It returns a string representation of an object. So how to call this str? Now let me just take this here. Assuming that it is defined inside the class. See here, I have both INIT method and str method both defined inside the class called time. Now I'll execute this. And how to call this str method? It's very simple. You're going to initiate time is equal to time 9:45 and 20 seconds. And this is how I call str method. So what is time here? Time is an instance. Since you had INIT method inside, I had that opportunity to assign some values to hour, minute and second given as an input argument to the instance directly. I'm giving this input argument instance to the directly to this instance so that I have this INIT method defined inside the class called time. And how do I call this str method? Str method can be called using time dot method. So this is a method, right? So this is directly a method. Underscore underscore str. See here I have one underscore here, two underscore, and I have two underscores here. So time dot str, and it will print it. See here, it is a string. This is what you need to observe. This is a string here, whereas previously this was an integer value. This was an object, right? So this was an integer value. But here it is referred to as a string output with respect to an str. Okay. So when I start writing this class, it almost start by writing INIT. It is always a good habit. See, this is how you need to follow. Always start with an INIT and then str if you have some print statements or if you want to return some string objects in terms of strings. Okay. Remember what is INIT and what is str. INIT is a method which is used to initialize, and how it is invoked. You might get a quiz question like this. INIT method is invoked when the object is instantiated. True or false? You say true. Why? Because whenever you create an object, then and there INIT method is invoked. Okay. And be careful with the input arguments which you're going to pass, right? It should be up to 3. Otherwise here it's already defined. Default values are set as 0, so you don't have to worry. Though the user is not giving the input, you will not get any trouble because it is already been given as zeros as a default values. Now if user is giving one input, so it will be overriding with the first attribute, that is hour, and the user is giving the second input, then obviously it has been understood as minute, and the third input it will be understood as a second. If you give fourth input, you get an error. Why you get an error? Because it takes only 4 positional arguments. One, it is already self, that is with respect to time. The other 3 given by the user. Okay, so the next, it's very important topic, guys. So concentrate now. Operator overloading. What do you mean by operator overloading? What is operator, guys? Operator, can I say operators like plus, mathematical operators, minus, division or modulus operator, or divisional operator, or multiplication operator like star. So all these things are operators. Like even have greater than, less than. There are so many operators. These are logical operators. So in Python, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So in Python, we are going to define, or we are going to use these operators to define our own special methods. If you remember, during a regular expressions topic or concept, we used to use special symbols to perform some specific task. Say caret symbol is used to starts with, and the other symbols, right? So a plus, a dot, a star dot. I hope you remember. So I've used those operators in order to perform some specific task. Here also I'll be using these operators to specify a particular behavior. Okay, you call it as, if I say add, here I'll be using an operator called add. I'll be using plus operator, okay, to define a specific behavior with respect to my programmer defined types. So I will use this plus operator using a method called add. Guys, understand? I'll be trying to overload this operator whenever I see this operator called plus. Okay, whenever I see this operator called plus during my execution, so it will initiate the method called underscore add with two underscores. See here, I have two underscores before and after add joined together. Be careful. So now how this is used? I'll be using a method named underscore add for the plus operator. Likewise, you can have a different methods to all these operators in programmer defined types. But here for your syllabus, I have operator overloading with respect to plus only.
Okay, sir.
So now, very important. This is most of the times this has been asked in your exam, to write a program with an example explaining the concept of operator overloading. So now I'll assume a class called time. So now I'll assume this. I'm going to write this method called add method inside the class called time. And how I'm going to do it? I'm going to use this method. See here, underscore add with underscore self comma other. See, this is completely user defined. So this can be anything. After self, this can be anything. Guys, understand? So this is my way of representing. The other can be anything, but self should be the same. Add operator or add method always starts with self as an input argument. What is this other? Other is an object. Other is another instance. Any doubt? So this is how I am going to create my method of operator overloading with respect to an operator plus inside the class time, something like this. So let us just try to define. So did we had a class something? Yeah, okay. Let me copy the entire. Okay, I'll copy this, and yeah, till here. I'm going to paste it here. Let me just go through individual methods one by one. Guys, is this okay? DEF INIT method. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
I have defined init inside the class called time. I have defined str method also. Is it okay? Which returns the string value. And also I have defined the add method. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what is there inside this add method? Add method simply takes two objects. Okay, it takes two objects and perform the addition. What it does? It performs the addition. See here, if it is trying to take two objects, this is time 1 and this is time 2, then obviously this time 1 to be converted to integer and this other, that is time 2, should be converted to integer, and then you add those two converted times in seconds. You add those two times here, self dot time to integer, other dot time to integer, and return into time. Return the return the actual value of time in hour, minute, seconds format. So I hope you have no confusion here. What is this method? This method will take two objects. The first time object is converted to integer, that is seconds. The second time object is converted to integer, that is again seconds. These two are added, so I'll get a total seconds, total time in terms of seconds. Again, I'm going to convert it back. Okay, again I'm going to convert it back to time using int to time. So I need two methods, time to int and another method int to time. Can you see here? I have taken those two methods here, time to int, which converts time to seconds and it will return the seconds. And I have another method which converts integer to time. After performing addition of two time objects, I need my original format. So what I'll do, I'll pass those seconds here to this particular method and I would return the time. Now we shall check how this will be performed. Shall I say, shall I initiate object like this? Can I initiate the object like this? Say yes or no fast. Start is equal to time because I have declared INIT method here. So the first time dot hour, start dot hour will be 9, start dot minute will be 45, start dot second will be 10. I can create this. See, the time object is created. Can I say duration is equal to, now duration of the movie is 1 hour 35 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, so now carefully understand. How do I use operator overloading? Now I will simply say was print start plus time. If I say print start plus time, sorry, start plus duration, right? This is start plus duration. Okay, what happened? Int to time is not defined. Int to time, it is defined, no? So what is the problem here? What is the problem here? The int to time is defined. Int to time. Int to time. It is defined. 1 second. Start plus duration. Guys, any suggestions here?
Sir, could you show the error once again?
Int to time is not defined because defined it, but time to int is defined, int to time is defined. It was running fine. Well, copy paste, did I do any mistake here? No, everything looks fine to me. You just try to define it. No. So what happens with if I give you duration time, it is there, and into to time. What has happened?
So there is no self in into time, sir. Self comma seconds.
It is not required, Appa. It's not required.
It's not required.
Not required. Self is not required because I'm just giving seconds here, and it's going to give me time. See, this is an locally it is trying to create an instance.
Okay.
But int to time dot
Sir,
seconds.
could you swipe down once to the error?
I'm not finding any error here. It's straight away it's telling into time is not defined. How it is possible?
Sir,
Yes.
just go up. I'll go up. to the place where into time is called in the function. Yes. Okay.
Into time is taking seconds. Yeah, here it's taking seconds after adding. After adding these two things, it is taking seconds as an input. So there should be no problem here. Time to int is there, time to int is there, it is getting converted and then it is giving seconds here. Oh my god. Let me just check it here. Did I have any problem? Yeah, here also I'm getting the same error. Yeah, I'm getting the same error here also. Yeah, I'm not getting. Okay, you should get it. Let me just check it again later on.
Sir, why does it say into time name into time is not defined? It should say function into time is not defined, no?
It's one and the same because here the error type or error. See here, it's giving here df int to time. Into time is not defined. It is just like your time to int. Otherwise, I would have got the error for this also, right? Okay. Last, let me see into time. What is there for into time?
Sir,
Minutes. Division mode. Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
could you go down once? I have an idea.
Sir, in third line, time dot minutes, I think.
Okay. Time dot minute. Now this is giving me time dot minute. This is a tuple. This will give me hour and minute. See here, in the last class I told you, whatever minutes after obtained in this will be given as an input to divisional modulus. So dividing the quotient will be with respect to time dot hour and the remainder will be with respect to time dot minute. And it will return the object called or an instance time. That's it. So this is done. So shall we try to define another way? It should not matter. It should not matter. Oh. But yesterday I got there is a silly mistake we'll do, but I'm not able to rectify it right now. Innate time to int, okay.
Sir?
Yeah.
You zoom out and see the whole code once. When you see it all together, maybe you'll get it.
It's very simple. Like we had, like last class I executed it, isn't it? Like, very last class I executed this time to, yeah, here it got executed, no?
Yes, sir.
Here see, it got executed. Here see, here also I had this time to end. Let me just let me copy this program. And CR and add. Because if I don't get the output, it's not possible for me to go to the next topic because it's the continuation. Okay. Now let me just copy this. My God, to time is not defined again. Okay, so give me some break so that in the next class I shall try to um, overcome this error, because here I don't see any error. There are no possible threads here. So only it is giving me int to time is not defined. What the hell is going on? 90 to time.
Sir,
Yeah,
it says name into time not defined, no, sir.
yeah.
I think it is referring that into time is a variable, maybe, because we haven't into time anta ಏನು ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಸರ್ ಆಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Sir, you put one variable like x or y is equal to into time of seconds and say return x, sir. Let's see what happens then.
You mean to say here, right?
No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. What I am saying is, it says name into time is not defined. I think it is referring to it as into time anta ಏನು ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಇಂದ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. So what I am saying is, ಆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಇಂಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೈಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ದೆನ್.
It should work for this one and the same, dear. The same. Print statement might be a problem. There might be some problem with the organization of the data. Maybe. I'm not sure, because again into time is not defined. Okay, 1 second.
Another notebook, can you? In the new notebook, sir.
Nitin, your voice is too low.
Now is it audible, sir?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, in the new notebook, sir. After
Huh?
in the new notebook, sir.
Okay.
Just do the same code, sir. Then we'll get to know. Like
Why? What happened?
Because the same variable is declared above also, no, sir.
Okay.
Different.
That might be the problem. But cell wise it should go, man. Should not be a problem. Individual cells, okay, maybe telling like it may be getting connected.
It might be yeah, sir. Like, or else restart a kernel once.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah. 1 second. As I said, I'm just trying to. There might be an issue with the kernel, as I said. Yeah, it's an issue with the kernel. Why? Because here my kernel is stuck. There is some problem. Yeah, it was an issue with the kernel. Just I'll put it on halt and I'll come back.
Yes, sir.
Still I have the same issue. Yeah, now the kernel is okay. I'll go back to this. And no, again I have the same problem. So it's not a problem with the kernel then.
Sir,
Hmm.
you try that return X thing I told, sir. It will come, sir.
Here you want to say x is equal to
Yes, sir.
what?
It
X
says
is
name error, sir. It doesn't say a function is not defined.
okay, fine. You say x is equal to what? 0, huh?
No, sir. What I am saying is you put X is equal to into time of seconds and then
I
write
cannot.
return X.
No. I cannot write it here because it should be after seconds. No,
Yes, sir. You write it after seconds only. Anywhere.
I did it. I did it.
Okay.
I did it last time. I think you might have not observed. I did it last time, dear. You did not observe, I guess. Sorry, I'm not getting. But is there any problem with this string return? Let me use print, otherwise can I use print? See here also I'm started getting this error into time is not defined. Okay. Morning it was executed, right? This was executed.
Sir, you send that code.
It is already there with you guys.
Okay, sir.
And all were executed. Okay, fine. Let us just go ahead. Like you will get this as you'll get this output. Okay, once you type this, you should be able to, for this input, you should be able to get an output as 1120. Okay, so just check later. This is called operator overloading, when you can use this operator as the function, a special function or a special method, in order to add two time instances or two objects in general. It's called as operator overloading. Okay, so I'll go to the next example, type based dispatch. So this is also very important um, technique or a method. So what happens here? In the previous section, we had done two things. One, we have added two time objects. Yes, just just try to respond to my questions. Have you added two time objects? Like very recently, we added two time objects, right? This is nothing but adding two time objects here. Now, second, have we added an integer? I repeat, have we added an integer to a time object? Guys,
No, sir.
oh, what no? We have added to time.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
added
Yes, sir.
seconds, no? Remember this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have added an integer to a time object, and also you have added two time objects. So these are the two things we have seen previously. Let me just try to write it in a different way. Okay, now there will be a situation where, okay, I repeat, there will be a situation where you need to add two time objects sometimes, or a user might try to increment a time with the second or time within some integer value. Correct? So these are the two cases that you need to understand. I'm again very specific about the application called time. That's it. Then nothing else. Like it again, creating objects, creating methods, creating init str, and operator overloading and type-based dispatch. Everything is application specific. Once a problem is given to you, you have to have a blueprint. Okay, fine. This is a class. This is the data. These are the variables. These are the attributes. Okay, understand. So now here I repeat. Okay, 1 second. In type-based dispatch, there might be a situation. Sometimes user might add time with another time object, or user might add an integer to a time object. So there might be two situations. So is your method, okay, is your method capable of performing either of these two operations depending upon the type? I repeat again, depending upon the type, a method dispatches the computation. You call it as a type-based dispatch. Okay, so here the operation is called type-based dispatch because it dispatches the computation to different method. So before dispatching the computation to different method, you need to understand was whether a user had given two time objects. You try to make use of add underscore time to objects, or in the second case, if the user has given one object along with an integer value, okay, perform another method. So let me just copy this. See, again, I'm going to assume I'm going to type these methods inside the class called time. So what is that method? I will use this add method. So this remains same, but I'm using a function called isInstance. Guys, what is this isInstance? I've said in the last class, isInstance will take input arguments and try to confirm whether both the instances, see here, if isInstance, that means both the given input arguments are the objects. So it will ask add underscore time to perform the operation, or else it will ask self dot increment to be performed. Right? So what are those two methods? These two methods are quite, you guys are familiar with these two methods. Are you familiar with these two methods? What is this? Add underscore time. It simply adds two time instance and returns the seconds. And this second is given to an into time, which is again giving me a time format. See here, if this is true, so if this happens to be true, that means both the input arguments are time objects. So it will ask add underscore time to be dispatched. So this will be dispatched. The result of this will be dispatched. If not, if this is false, when it is going to be false, when you have one time object with the other, understand, with the other as an integer. So this will be executed. So it will go to increment, self dot increment other. So here other is an alias to seconds. Self is an alias to self here, whereas self would be an alias to time outside. Okay, so now if I run the program, See here, I'll be using it here. So if I give the time instances, see here, start is equal to time 9:45, duration is equal to 135, and print start plus duration I would get 11:20. Again here, this is the second case. I gave what? Here I have two different types of input. I gave start with an integer. I got this as an answer. I get start with another time object. These are two time objects, and this is one time object with an integer. So two cases have been verified here. With respect to the first case, this is first case, and this one is the second case. So I repeat, because I cannot run this program, why? Because into time is not working. That is the problem. Into time is not working. So I'll generate an error. Yeah, I'll generate an error. Why? Because this into time is not defined. So there is some problem with the into time. Let me just verify it, rectify it in the next class. Guys, did you understand this? Now, assuming that I have defined these methods inside the class by giving an indentation. The first is that underscore underscore add self dot other. See, always this self is representing the object itself. That means start is an alias to self, other is an alias to duration. Now I am checking this other. See here, this checking with other with respect to time. So this is not, if this is an instance, so it will invoke add underscore time. This will be dispatched. If this is false, that means the other is an integer value. See, the other is an integer value. In this situation, this will be dispatched, where it will be incrementing the integer value to the time object. I repeat, if this is true, it will dispatch add underscore time with respect to adding two time objects. If this is false, so this will go to return, and this will invoke incrementing the integer value to the time object. Okay, so any doubt, guys? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Here, always understand, in this example I had given start, that is time object, as the first argument. What if I try to reverse this? If I reverse this, if I say, if I'm trying to do this, so what is 1337? 1337 is an integer, right? 1337 is an integer. Start is an object. So this 1337 will become an alias to what? Self, right? Guys, I'm asking you a simple question. So it becomes an alias to self. But here, what is other? Other is a time object. There is totally, it is a conflict here. Correct? Sometimes user gives an integer value, then later tries to add an object to this given integer value. So in this situation, you will generate an error. So what type of error? You generate an error something like this. There will be a type error, unsupported operand plus, because you are trying to add two instances. So to overcome it, I am going to use, so in order to overcome this, I'll be using radd. See here, right side add. That means whatever the object might be, or whatever the input argument might be, irrespective of the form or irrespective of the appearances, whether it is appearing at the first input argument or the second input argument, it doesn't matter. If I say right-sided add, radd self other, it will reverse the operation of the existing method. I repeat, in this situation, I'll be using the function called underscore underscore two underscores are add with two underscores. So this will give me an opportunity to add integer with time object, or time with integer object, or time with time object. Got it? So these are the examples. And then lastly, I'm just getting this error. Why? Because I have not defined these things fairly. So the last topic is polymorphism. Most of them have already understood what you mean by polymorphism by this time, if you have gone through any type of programming languages. Guys, I will write you. I'll write a small program. Can anybody try to understand this? What is this program? Just let me know. So what is this program, guys? Anybody say what is this program?
Sir, counting the number of characters in a word or a string and their frequency.
Okay, fine. So this is a program of histogram which takes an input argument called S. So here you can see C in S is nothing but it can be a word or a character or anything in S, and I'm going to create a dictionary. So what is the output of this function? So the output of this function is a dictionary, right? It's a dictionary which, suppose if I have, it's a histogram function. What is the output if I say histogram of T? What is the output, guys? T is an alias to S here. So it will check within this list. So this is a list. I'm giving input as a list, right? What is the input argument to this function?
List.
List. So what is the output? Output is a dictionary. So bacon here, it's one. It's appearing once in this list. Egg is appearing once in this list. Spam is appearing four times in this list. So this histogram function works for a list. Suppose if I say, I have another example. Suppose if I say T is equal to, electronic. Suppose if I give a string, as I repeat, if I give a string, what is the output? What's the output? Guys, what is the output with respect to histogram of T?
Frequency of each letter in the string.
Correct. I'd get frequency of each character here, right? I'd get frequency of each character. So here, what is the input? Input is string. Here, what was the input to the function? Here, the input was a list. Likewise, can I give a tuple? Let me just try to give a tuple. Okay, let me just copy this tuple. I'm going to the next cell. I'll paste this tuple and then I say histogram of T. Is it a tuple, guys? Remember, this is a tuple.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here, what is the input to histogram? The input to histogram function, it is a tuple T. So again, I'll generate the dictionary with respect to the elements of this tuple. How many times one has repeated inside this tuple. So basically what you understood by this example. So for this S, this is one function. This is one function which takes different type inputs. I repeat. Okay, I repeat. The function that work with several types of input data is known as polymorphic, and the function you call it as polymorphic function or polymorphism. The concept you call it as polymorphism. Function that work with several types. So this is a function which works with a list, which works with a string. String is a different type of input, and of course a tuple is again a different type of input. So function is same. Correct? So this is all about your fourth module. And of course, there were some crucial problem which was encountered here. The into time is not working. This into time is not working. Let me just rectify it. So, but today, what we have discussed about init, str method, and then add method, and then type based dispatch, and then polymorphism, and of course operator overload. And all these examples, all these concepts were dealt with respect to the example of time. Okay. So init str and add method, and of course another add method if you have a reverse in operation, and then operator overload and type based dispatch and polymorphism. So this completes your module number 4. Okay, again guys, I have already shared module 4 Jupyter notebook with you. So I want you people to concentrate on operator overloading and type based dispatch. So in type-based dispatch, basically a user might be willing to add two time objects using operator overloading concept, or sometimes user may be intended to add an integer value to the time object. That means integer to a time object or integer to an object in general. So the dispatch will be performed based upon the type of object or type of input argument. So this is called as type-based dispatch. Operator overloading is nothing but it's a special type of method which is made to invoke an operator to perform some specific task or specific objectives. Okay, so it is operator overloading. So this is all about today's extra class. So I insist, I request you guys to make sure you execute all the cells, all the programs inside the Jupyter notebook, and try to do some changes and try to observe what is happening with respect to the changing scenarios and learn the concepts thoroughly. I can assure you, you will definitely get type-based dispatch, operator overloading, prototyping versus patch, and developmental plan. Remember, the developmental plan and polymorphism. This is for sure, and this is a requirement with respect to an industry also, with respect to object-oriented programming. So make sure you learn these concepts thoroughly with an example, okay, of time. For time being, you just depend upon take the cases with respect to time only. You have hour, minute, second, you have time 1, time 2, time 3. So just try to realize and analyze the situations with respect to the time objects or the time class. Okay, so thank you guys, thank you for attending this extra class. So on Saturday we will start module number 5, which will be very interesting. Okay, so I can assure you, if you attend module 5, some classes, say 5 to 6 classes, definitely you can build your own project, or definitely you will try to see the other level or other dimension of Python programming, whatever you have learned so far, using all these concepts on the application level, say reading hypertext, reading hyper HTML pages, XML page, or JSON pages, or JSON database, or JSON data, or trying to retrieve an image from a particular website, trying to retrieve a particular text document from a website. Okay, so there are many different challenges or applications in module 5. So I insist you people to learn module 5, right? Do not neglect, though you have an open choice examination type this semester, but still I don't know like whether I'm sure or not. You have to wait for the VTU circular for that open choice examination format. So wait, but just imagine that you are going to face the exam with all the 5 modules. So learn this concept. In my next class, we'll be dealing with um, web parsing, web browsing, and dealing with SQL database, and creating web services and APIs, application programming interfaces. Okay, little bit higher level on the note with respect to understanding the programming concept, but still you have a lot of advantage if you learn those concepts for future. Okay, so thank you for attending this session. Okay, so if you have any doubt, just let me know. Just ping me, or you can call me, WhatsApp me, or any means of communication you like to do, you can do it. But last but not the least, do not ignore these concepts. Okay, yeah, thank you guys.